All right, I'm gonna make this one quick on the 2022 BMW M440i because there's a bit of an underlying issue here, which I'll cover in a little bit, and that's why I have to turn this car in quick. But we'll get to that later, and you can make your jokes about that later. All right, M440i, this is the coupe variant, and because this is the all-new 2022, there's a big change for the coupes, and that is it is now available as a rear-wheel drive model, not just the xDrive. And also for 2022, we also have the addition of the Gran coupe. So that initially was not available in 2021. So those are kind of your major changes there. And the biggest highlight with the M440i models is that 3-liter inline-six made it to the 48-volt mild hybrid system. I used to be a owner of a 2019 BMW 440i Gran Coupe, a vehicle that I really liked. That was a vehicle that I was leasing out for a little bit. Yeah, fantastic car. I actually missed that vehicle, so I'll try to make some comparisons with that car and this. But I guess the elephant in the room, or I guess the beaver in the room, whatever you want to call it, is going to be that front end. You're probably like, what the hell was BMW thinking with that front end? So I'll talk about that here. That face actually has the potential to look good, but in this application, it does not. And it's unfortunate because you know what it looks like? It looks like BMW made the front end and then they like crash it up against a wall and it just looks flat. That's the problem with the front end on this new BMW 4 Series. Otherwise, I see what they're doing here, and the big grille thing, that's the new trend, whatever, I get it. But it had the potential to look good. If it had more angles to it, if it looked a little bit more 3D-ish instead of just flat and looked like it just hit a brick wall, this could have looked much better. This has potential going forward into the future, but as it sits now, I'm not a fan. Yeah, it's unfortunate because the rest of the vehicle looks amazing. I like the rear end of it. I like the side profile. That's all fine, but every reviewer has beat this one to death, so you can leave your comments below about the appearances of this car. But luckily, this one is finished in black, so it kind of hides a lot of that nonsense. And let's see if this car is worth buying in black. So let's transition over into this driving segment now. Put it into the sport mode. That comical 8-speed transmission. Boy, is this thing quick. Previous 2019 440i, about 300 horsepower, 300 pounds-feet of torque. Massive upgrade in power. In fact, this car is better than that old 4 Series in every single way. I really appreciate the way that this vehicle drives. This car is worth having the BMW badge on it, as well as that little M badge on it. This thing is worth it. Everything is on point here. Steering feel, engine performance, transmission performance, ride quality, everything is where I need it to be. So let's kind of walk through each of these things, right? Steering, I typically complain about this with a lot of BMW cars, especially in the past. I used to complain that they were overweighted, over synthetic for no apparent reason. It was just overweighted for, you know, no real benefit to the way that the car feels, right? This one feels just right. Whether it's in the sport mode, the comfort mode, doesn't really matter. And also, because we have the rear-wheel drive model for this, it feels fantastic. You can kind of slide it around now, but it's never out of control. You can always predict what it's going to do. Love that. Transmission is just comical. I mean, as soon as you start playing with these paddles, the way it just immediately shifts down, it's just fantastic. It reacts like a PDK transmission. I say this every time in just about all these BMW videos. Had this thing out on the highway, it was hauling real nice out there. I mean, I had it at like 130 miles an hour, and I feel like it's kind of capped at that speed. I think that might be the top speed for this vehicle, like electronically limited, whatever. So out on the highway at those speeds, dude, trust me, the stability is fantastic. It's right where this car needs to be. It doesn't feel stressed or anything like that. And I actually like to drive around in the sport mode for once, because they also nailed that. For once, when you put it into the sport mode, it's not like cruising at some insane RPM, like 2,000-3,000 RPM at 45 miles an hour. Anything below 80, 75 miles an hour, something like that, it's actually cruising below 2,000 RPMs, even at even in the sport mode. Love it. And speaking of all these little modes, one of the best things about this new generation 440i is the ride quality. This rides so much better while handling better than the previous 440i's. It doesn't beat me up. I did a long journey in it. These seats are reasonably comfortable, has plenty of lumbar support, which is now something that's included in the premium package. This excellent lumbar support, so something to check on the options list if you go to order a vehicle like this. So you can do long commutes, not feel fatigued. I don't really notice a difference between sport mode and the comfort mode with the dampers. I don't really notice a difference there, but the vehicle rides great. It's the point, even with these optional 19-inch wheels, which look fantastic. In fact, I thought they were like 20-inch wheels when I initially saw them. I thought they were crazy. They fill out the wheel wells. Standard, you get 18-inch wheels, so this vehicle has the potential to ride even better. And this car is fitted with 225 wide tires in all four corners, which is super skinny. And it's like these Pirelli run flat tires. You know, out on the highway, not a whole lot of tire noise, not a whole lot of wind noise. And yes, we do have that little M badge in the back there, and because of that, you do get a more M-tuned suspension, all that good stuff, compared to like a 430i, right? And you also get a rear differential as well when you get the M440i's. Usually when I see an M badge on a BMW, I get really scared. In the past, they used to ride like junk, like a complete dump truck, really. It was unbelievable, very firm. My previous car did not have an M badge on it or anything like that. None of the M stuff, just a regular 440i. And even that was pretty firm, firmer than this. So the fact that this handles better, is quicker, a little bit quieter, it's just better in every way and rides better. The 440i Gran Coupe I had, the 2019, had 18-inch wheels on it. So you can see just how big of a difference this is with that older car, that older generation. It's just the freaking looks of this car. That's what's hard to digest. But again, getting it in black, it's a clean looking coupe when you get it in black, I guess, but it's so unfortunate. You know, they give you so much here and then they have to go and ruin it like that every single time, of course. Another thing that they really nailed here that adds to the driving experience is this perfect seating position. It's easy to see out in the back. The side view mirrors do an excellent job. Rear view mirror, everything about this, so easy to drive. It's not fatiguing, doesn't stress you out in traffic, nothing like that. And recently, I even covered a 2019 Audi S5. That's one of the more recent videos I've done, and you can check that video out if you want, but I will say this is a much more fun to drive vehicle than that Audi S5. Has a little bit more character. When you put this thing into the sport mode, I think the sound does get amplified a little bit more. The sound of the engine, it's probably through the speakers, of course, but it doesn't sound terrible. It adds to the character, and just driving this thing has a great demeanor out on the road. You can be doing a slower speed, a higher speed, doesn't matter. So from a driving perspective, I have zero qualms about this. It's all with that looks, baby. Anyway, let's go ahead and let's transition over into this interior segment now. All right, let's quickly talk about this interior and wrap this video up. Interior of this 440i, it's typical BMW. I already did a video on the X5 and the X3. As standard, these 440i's, they come with a 8.8-inch screen. You can also get a 10.3-inch screen, I believe, as an option. But you will be getting the Apple CarPlay and the Android Auto, so don't worry about that. It's typical iDrive stuff, very easy to use, no problem. Quick to respond. I think most people will get used to this, no problems. So nice job there with the iDrive system. Now, let me tell you why I have to turn this vehicle in and why I have to not spend so much time on the review for this car. That's because this car has an issue, and that is every time I lock this car and walk away from it, it always sounds the alarm, the car alarm. So it starts screaming and beeping and all that stuff, right? So that happened to me twice in the parking lot when I was out, and that was just really annoying. So what I have to end up doing is leave the car unlocked. Obviously, I don't want to leave the car unlocked for too long, so I'm going to be turning this vehicle in. What do I mean by turning it in? This is a subscription vehicle through DriveFlow. That's why I'm getting this car to review for you guys, just so you know. That aside, you can make your jokes about BMW reliability, all that stuff. It could happen to any car. Some people say that it has something to do with the hood latch. Some guy said like a mice might be hiding inside the vehicle. It could be a possibility, but highly doubt that. And it's not really an issue with the hood either. There was even a infotainment upgrade. I even did that as well. Someone else said that there's like a wire within the chassis and it kind of rubs up against each other and it kind of degrades over time. That could be what's going on here. Who knows? Don't really care. Not my problem. All right. Digital gauge cluster. Love it. Works fantastic. Looks amazing. One of my more favorite looking digital gauge clusters that you can get in the new car. And we have a nice girthy BMW M Sport steering wheel here. A nice thing to grip onto. Got some silver paddle shifters here, which is just plastic, but it's painted in silver. Automatic window switches for both the two windows here because it's a coupe. Two-way memory seats. I like the door handles. I like how that feels. The mood lighting, I believe, is now standard, so something else to keep in mind. Automatic headlights. Overall interior quality is pretty high, free from gimmicks, and it doesn't creak or rattle in here. We do have a sunroof here. Sound system in here is decent. It's got plenty of bass. Clarity is not bad, so very good. This is a vehicle that costs $60,000 on the vehicle tested here, which is not a bad price considering the amount of performance. I mean, this thing hauls like it's got 500 horses on it, basically. It is a very quick machine. From a standstill on the highway, when you're already up and moving, unlike most turbocharged engines, this thing does not die out on the top end. It still keeps pulling. 60 grand, not a bad vehicle if you like the way it looks. That's the key there. You have two little cup holders, a place to store your phone, and I can actually fit my iPhone 13 Pro Max in there, so that's good, that little slot. You have a USB port, your dials, your controls for your sport modes, your trashing off, and apparently there's no button to disable the auto stop start. That really pisses me off that it's empty here. It's an empty button. So the auto stop start, correct me if I'm wrong, it's just always on in these 440i's. I mean, granted, this thing does get some amazing MPGs. I'll give it that, but it's like 25 in the city and 34 in the highway. That's excellent. That's amazing. But still, I don't know how much of that is contributed by the auto stop start. So I want to be able to turn that off, but there's no option for it in this 440i, not that I can find anyway. It's just frustrating. Anyway, we have the heated seats for the front two seats. That's an extra option that's included in this car, and you have a decent amount of space in the armrest and the glove box. I can actually fit behind myself in the rear seats. That's actually useful. This vehicle overall is larger than the previous generation. I mean, that's just what's happening to cars in general. They just keep getting larger every generation. But hey, it's very practical, and you know, I'm 5'11". Getting in and out of this car, not too bad, but you still have like that low slung coupe driving feel when you operate it every day. But you have plenty of headroom here, plenty of leg room if you put the seat all the way back, so that's not an issue. Trunk is massive, huge trunk, and you can fold down the rear seats, which makes this a very practical car. So you can imagine how practical that the Gran Coupe could be. But yeah, that's my look at the M440i. It's unfortunate I have that little issue with this car because I really love driving this car. This is probably my most favorite car I've had from the DriveFlow subscription program. This has been a blast to drive. I've really enjoyed this. It's so quick. It doesn't beat you up. You can do long miles in here. It's reasonably quiet for a vehicle of its class. You know, this is not a 5 Series or a 7 Series, yet it's pretty refined overall, even with these run flat tires. So much mechanical grip, even with these skinny tires as well. Something else to keep in mind. Features are great. All the tech works. Tech looks nice. You know, if you're a BMW owner and you have this issue where you walk away from the car and the alarm keeps going off, let me know what the solution was for that. You know, it could help other BMW owners kind of avoid some headaches there. There you go. That's my look at the 440i, the M440i, sorry. Better in every way to the previous generation, except in the way it looks. So, thanks again for watching. Take care, and goodbye.